I spent this year going to a lot of county fairs in the rural parts of my home state of Florida and also Massachusetts. One of my goals in 2025 was to get closer. I wanted to make portraits of strangers in their environment and not be afraid to talk to them, make a connection, and actually make a true intentional portrait. For some of the fairs, my friends Jimmy and Willem came along, and it was super fun to drive around the state with them, exploring different fairs in different parts of the state along the way. Let's rewind to the end of 2024 when I first started photographing county fairs around the state. One of the most memorable experiences I had is when I first saw a wall of death, which I didn't even know existed in the US. A wall of death is when motorcycle riders and sometimes cars will ride on the walls of a wooden dome around and around. What was so cool about their performance is that they got really close to the audience and this thin little red line that was running along the dome, and they would get so close to the audience that to collect the tip, they would go up on their motorcycle and grab the dollar from them at that red line. I ended up becoming friends with all of the riders, and the first time that I met them, I took a group portrait of them outside their tent. Because it was night outside and they were going so fast, I had to use a high shutter speed to try and freeze the motion. But because of that, there wasn't enough light and all of the photos that I took were completely ruined. But luckily enough, throughout the year, I ended up finding them at multiple county fairs that I went to, both in Florida and in Massachusetts. And I asked them if they would let me go inside of the dome in the middle and take photos from there. And surprisingly, they did. They let me inside of the dome for multiple showings and multiple shows, to the point where I've probably been in it at least 10 times. In all of my solo travels to these county fairs, it's led me to beautiful parts of Florida that I never would have seen otherwise. Not just the city or the county that the fair is happening in, but also just the drive along the way. I would purposely take scenic routes or state highways as opposed to the interstate. I ended up coming across beautiful parts of Florida and making photographs along the way there. All of the fairs and festivals I went to were unique, but the one thing I noticed that was the commonality was the 4-H events.
And a quarter, you turn to the quarter half. Hey, divide half. What about a quarter? 525. 525. 450. 425. Here we go. 450.
Later in the year, Jimmy and I went to Massachusetts, and I made my favorite photograph of the year.
There you go. Tap in. All right, Molly, you can get out of the way. Let your brother do his thing. I know. Let's get the next.
We also met all of these horseback riders that were getting ready for the competition, and they were so kind and sweet and let us take photos of them getting ready and practicing, and they were so much fun to photograph. I also went to my first demolition derby, which I had never been to before. It's a very American thing where people basically take beat up cars, they get it running just well enough to run, and they go in these big arenas and they smash into each other and race and see which car is the last one standing. We got all access to the pit where the riders were getting ready, and we ended up getting to talk to most of the people that were there, making a bunch of portraits of them just standing around, which honestly was the most fun part as opposed to photographing the actual race. These photos have definitely marked the beginning of a new project, and I'm super excited to not only explore fairs, but different places that Americans gather. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this type of video, let me know. I was trying out a new style that I think kind of mirrors a little bit of the reels I make on Instagram, but I wanted to make it for YouTube instead and see if it would work. So let me know if you like it, and I'll see you next time.